Tutte le religioni sono un cammino per arrivare a Dio.
Because every religion is a way to arrive at God.
Sono, dirò una comparazione, sono come diverse lingue, diversi idiomi per arrivare lì.
Sort of a comparison, an example would be they're sort of like different languages in order to arrive at God.
Ma Dio è Dio per tutti.
But God is God for all.
E come Dio è Dio per tutti, noi siamo tutti figli di Dio.
And if God is God for all, then we're all sons and daughters of God.
Ma il mio Dio è più importante del tuo.
But my God is more important than your God.
È vero quello?
Is that true?
C'è un solo Dio lì. E noi sono idiomi, cammino, lingue per arrivare a Dio.
There's only one God, and each of us is a language, so to speak, in order to arrive at God.
Qualcuno è Sikh, qualcuno musulmano, qualcuno hindi, qualcuno cristiano,
Indo,
ma
Christian.
sono diversi cammini.
There are different paths.
Contemplate la diversità delle vostre tradizioni come una ricchezza voluta da Dio. L'unità non è uniformità e la diversità delle nostre identità culturali e religiose è un dono di Dio. Unità nella diversità. Lasciatevi crescere nella stima reciproca come testimoniano i vostri antenati.
You can now see with your own eyes and hear with your own ears the poisonous modernist heresies of Vatican II, incarnate in the person of Jorge Mario Bergoglio. He is destroying Catholic faith, he is destroying Catholic morality for untold millions of souls, now and for centuries to come. As such, he is no mere bad dad with an unused infallible stamp in his back pocket. Still less is he the vicar of Christ. He is the vicar of the devil, and no one should be afraid to say it.
And lo and behold, no sooner had they come out and given this sanitized version of what Francis said, than Francis comes out and says again that all religions, the diversity of religions, is a gift from God. Heresy. This is even worse than God wills the diversity of religions, because they could argue, well, God willed it, meaning he allowed it, okay? So not as something objectively good, but God is willing to put up with it and tolerate it. But now he says that they're gifts from God, and a gift is a good thing, right? He's the Father of gifts. All good gifts come from the Father of lights in heaven, right? So if God gives a gift, it's something good, it's something beautiful, it's something salutary for you. And so it's going to be a lot harder for them to spin this. I mean, maybe they'll just say, well, he just lapsed into German when he used the word gift. And in German, gift means poison. So that's what Francis really meant. It'll be interesting to see how they spin this one. But he says, in fact, that all these diversity of religions, a gift from God. So they're all good. They're all good things. The fact that some acknowledge Jesus Christ and that others deny him, that others say, if you say that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, we're going to cut your head off, that contradiction it doesn't stop Francis from saying, but all of these religions, nonetheless, come from God. They're all gifts from God. The religion that Jesus Christ established, the Catholic religion, gift from God. The Mohammedan religion that says if you believe that Christ Jesus is the Son of God, that they're supposed to cut your head off, that comes from God too. The same God gives us both those religions. And other religions that might consider Jesus to be like an avatar or a bodhisattva or some other manifestation of the divine, that's okay. You know, it all comes from the same God. And so what this really is an attack on who God is. It's actually an attack on the very understanding of who God is and whom God has revealed himself to be. So we think, okay, well, if Francis is saying, and like other heretics, that you don't have to believe in Jesus Christ to be saved, you don't even have to believe in God to be saved, as he's indicated. I think he's come out and said it, really. An atheist can be saved just by being charitable. Then you are actually blaspheming God himself in attacking the very concept of who God is. We use the expression supreme being because God himself has identified himself as the supreme being. I am who am, Yahweh. That's the name he gave to Moses. Right? I am who am, I exist. I am the supreme being. All that exists derives its being from me. I will it into existence because I am. Okay. Now, this God is the foundation of all truth. And all that is true must arise from him, must take its origins from him, because he is the truth. Jesus Christ said, I am the way and the truth and the life. So if we now posit contradiction in God and say, oh, God is just too great to have just one religion. No, it's like various facets of a diamond where you have all these different faces of God expressing himself in different ways. That's all blasphemy, because we know that God is simplicity itself in his divine being, his supreme being, and he is the absolute truth and the foundation of all that is true. And there is no error found in him. We say he's the God who can neither deceive nor be deceived. What kind of deceiver God is this, who spins off a multiplicity of different religions, all contradicting themselves, and saying, okay, you can believe whatever you want, find a religion that you like, and lo and behold, they're all going to wind up back here with me. They're all going to lead you to me, right? Like as though the world is some gigantic labyrinth, but no matter what path you choose, you're going to all wind up in the same place. You're going to wind up in heaven. That's blasphemy. That is an insult to God himself. St. Thomas Aquinas said that is the worst form of intellectual sin. It is an attack on the very divine being. It's telling a lie about God. And a lie about God either attributes to him something that is bad, attributes some evil to him, saying something is that there is some evil in God, or it denies in him something that is good. Either way, it's a lie. And this is not only heresy, but it is blasphemy. Again, Francis has spoken so consistently, blasphemously and heretically. And Francis has plainly stated this time after time after time after time after time. And I hope that with many of these people, he's running out of excuses. I hope they're running out of excuses for him. And they're willing to face the fact that this man is not a Catholic. He doesn't have the Catholic faith. And there are very serious consequences to that. I pray for his conversion. I don't want him to go to hell. And I don't want him to take hundreds, thousands, millions of people with him. So I do pray for his conversion. But when you have to pray for someone's conversion, it's not because they have the faith. It's because they don't. And I would recommend that those out there, the Catholics who still are Catholic, and so to the extent that they still believe the Catholic faith, and therefore they realize that this man does not have the faith, I would ask them to join me in praying for his conversion, but praying also for the conversion of all those who are following him into the abyss, because that's where he's leading them.
Behold, Antipope Francis, the most public heretic in the history of the world, one of the most evil men ever to walk the earth, making the likes of Stalin, Mao, and Hitler seem like small-time, petty neighborhood thugs in comparison. For Francis is leading millions upon tens of millions upon hundreds of millions of souls to eternal hell. Be not deceived by his false gospel. Be not deceived by his sugary words and his false humility. If you follow this man, you will end up in hell. One cannot simultaneously follow Francis and practice actual Catholicism. The two are mutually exclusive. To the extent that anyone in the Novus Ordo anti-church is saved, it's because they're not following Francis. It's because they're defying Francis somehow. But the likelihood of their defiance diminishes the longer they stay yoked with Antipope Francis and the Novus Ordo anti-church he leads. Actual Catholics before the Judas Council, before Vatican II, would not recognize this man as a Catholic, and there's nothing virtuous about recognizing him as a Catholic. Many timid souls speak of the dangers of not following a pope, but they don't speak of the dangers about following a false pope. And those who have eyes to see and ears to hear know that by following this man, you are not following the true gospel of Christ. You are not following the vicar of Christ. It's no accident that this man has renounced the title of Vicar of Christ. Just think about that. Did you ever dream that you would live in a time of a man whom the world sees as a pope, who claims to be a pope, and yet who has renounced the title of Vicar of Christ? That alone tells you what you need to know about this man. And so I urge you, if you seek to be an actual Catholic, if you seek to follow actual Catholicism, you cannot follow this man. Again, his attack on the actual Catholic Mass is not an accident. Just think about that. Did you ever dream that a man claiming to be Pope would attack the actual Roman Rite? And yet this attack, this diabolical attack, has been met with mere murmurs from those few today who still embrace actual Catholicism. We've become desensitized to all of the things these papal pretenders since Vatican II have done and said. We need to resensitize. We need to rediscover a sense of holy horror about what these men have said and done. For example, what John Paul II did at the 1986 Assisi event. Blasphemy. Utterly scandalous what he did at Assisi. Not to mention all of the other things he said and did, beginning with his first encyclical, preaching the heresy of universalism, and thus leading millions to hell. We must resensitize. This bovine, brutal age has desensitized us to every kind of horror, and yet so many profess horror at all of these school shootings. But these pale in comparison to the horror of what these papal pretenders have done by leading millions upon tens of millions upon hundreds of millions of souls to hell.